Okay, so you're going to click on ocean tides. This is the demonstration. Launch it. And you get what looks like this. You have the model of the sun over here. See how it's shining on the earth? The sun's over here. The moon is over here. And when we click play, we can see the rotation of the earth and the position of the moon. Notice when the fisherman is directly under the moon, that's a high tide. Over here, you can show the values, how deep the water gets, or you can turn that off. We'll leave it on. We can also show the tidal bands. Okay, remember, this is an exaggerated depth, but it gives you an idea of where the deep water is. You can also speed up the cycle and get to some important places. Like the next one that we saw in the video was the neap tide. So let's find out where that is. I'm coming up on it right now. And boom. This is when the moon is not lined up with the sun, so it's a neap tide. And let's look at our water depth, 5.1 meters. This is not as deep as the spring tide. So let's see what happens next. And we speed up and pause when it's lined up. And boom. Notice we are at the spring tide. This is when the moon is lined up with the sun and the water is springing as close as it can get to the moon. What's our depth? 5.9. Okay, that's much deeper than the 5.1 during the neap tide. Let's continue and speed it up. Try and catch it at the next neap tide. And boom. Here we are. We are not lined up with the sun. Not means neap. And look at our depth, 5.1 again. Let's continue. Boom, boom. All right, so let's try and catch this one more time. And of course, I missed it. This would have been 29 days down here when we reach the next spring tide. All right, so play around with that. When you get ready to finish these questions, we have 5 questions. You scroll down and look at these 5 questions. Okay. You should be able to figure these out now. And when you are done, please take your time. You will click on here to check your answers, and it will tell you your score. But please take your time. Don't rush in here and answer until you have studied this. Go back up here and study it. Now, the last thing I want to say, and this is very important, is that at the end of this assignment, go back to Canvas And here's where you're going to get your score. So this is everything that you did. You joined the class, you launched the gizmo, you observed the tides, you scrolled down, you answered the 5 questions. And this is important, important, important. Scroll down here. Oops. We need to create the text box. So we need to click this blue submit and go down here and type done. Something like that. Type the word in there, done, and then submit. That tells me that you are finished with the 5 questions. And what I'm going to do is I will go to our Gizmo class. I'll go to my classes, period 3, and I'm going to look for the results here. Oh, one person has already gone ahead and submitted. Please don't do that yet. Make sure you're ready before you do that. All right. That's where I'm going to get your scores, and then I'm going to type them into Canvas.